everybody. Hey, I'm Jeremy. I'm the Guitar Hunter, and this is Robby. And you've probably heard Robby's story. You're probably aware of what's going on in his world, but here is the main gist. Robby, you have an incredible guitar collection that was stolen. But now, this episode, we're finally getting to say some good news, because there's been a lot of bad news in your world, and so we get to hear some good news and some hope, and we'll get to see a couple guitars. But Robby, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yeah, so I'm Robby Z, and been a musician all my life. It was a profession of mine. Started playing in bands in about 8th grade, and pretty much retired about 8 or 9 years ago. I was doing 200 shows a year all over the world, and everywhere I went, I would hit every music store. It was something to do in the daytime. People that aren't musicians, because your followers are mostly musicians, so they understand, but you're on the road, you're playing for an hour and a half and you got like 24 hours down or 38 hour or 40, so I would hit every guitar store, and I just love guitars. And so I would always, if I found something I liked, I would buy it. And that's how I actually started. So I don't consider myself a collector, like a guy who's in Venice that has a guitar at home and wants to own a bunch of stuff. I just did it because I love every guitar I've ever owned. And so, as you know, I built up a pretty big collection. And in December, as you already covered in the first episode, somebody broke into my storage unit and took 170 guitars and about 15 amps, all vintage. A couple of custom shops, but 99% were vintage. So thanks to you and the help of a couple of others, we got the word out. It took a few months because the detectives didn't want the word out. They wanted to kind of ease into it to see if they could find some of the bad guys. And then we put the word out, and guys like you really helped me get the word out. And so we've recovered 40 guitars as of today, which I'm really, I mean, every time I get one guitar, I'm like in tears. I literally am in tears. And a lot of it's because people have seen the videos. You did one and another guy did one. And people, I had a guy call me. So this goes into how we got the 40 recovered, if you want me to jump in.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that the police were able to get back a few. They did some raids and some busts, but their focus is finding the bad guy and putting him in jail, not really recovering guitars. So I hired a private investigator to help me. And then we started running Craigslist ads. I say we, meaning me. Craigslist ads and things, just kind of shaking up the bushes to see what's out there. And I got, like, I'll give you an example. I got a call. I was down in LA, and I got a call one night on my cell phone, and this guy said, "Hey, I got 3 of your guitars." I'm like, "What?" He goes, "Yeah, I bought them from a guy off Craigslist, and they were a really good deal, blah, blah, blah." I won't go into the whole story, but he said, "And then my wife saw one of your videos on YouTube and said, I think you might have this guy's guitars." He goes, "I watched the video and I realized these are yours, and I want to do the right thing. I want to give them back." And I was just like, unbelievable. So I met the guy up in the Bay Area, and he had 3 very nice guitars that were mine, obviously. And I have a complete listing with serial numbers and photos for anybody that wants that. And I can send it to you.
And so I'll put that in the description down below. You've already sent me one, and they're kind of living documents that move as things change. But what's so shocking is, I mean, right now, if I was in the market for any offset, any pre-CBS matching headstock, I mean, you are the guy. And so everyone's thinking about them right now because you had such a specific collection. And I don't want to say that in past tense. You're regaining a lot of it.
I actually have. And not enough. I still have 140 to go. I would love to find my amps, but we're on it. We know the players, and we're trying to. My goal is to deal directly with them and pay a reward and get back what I can. I'm willing to pay. I've sold some of the stuff I got back so I could have cash to pay a reward. So if anybody watched this that saw it and said, "Hey, I know a guy," or whatever, I'm willing to pay the guy that has them. I don't care how they got them. I don't care whatever happened. I just want my guitars back,
Yeah.
and I'm willing to pay. And I have done that already in a few cases where I got another guy that called me and said, I've got a bunch of your guitars. And the guy that stole them, who died 3 weeks later, we found out, the guy that actually broke into my unit died 3 weeks later of pneumonia. He had given some to some people as collateral because he wanted to borrow money. And then they were like, I don't know what to do with these guitars. And the guy gave me back a whole bunch of guitars that he had gotten from the actual perpetrator. I mean, there's some crazy stories here. I mean, there's some really weird. And so we knew the guy, we knew the name, we knew who broke in, we knew all that anyway ahead of time. But the thing is, there's still a lot of them out there, and we think they're in groupings, and we're trying to come up with it. But yeah, so the offset thing, the way that came about is I used to collect, like a lot of people did. I always liked the old Strats because I play a Strat, and I'm going to show you one. I'm going to show you my baby that I got back. I literally cried. I literally had tears flowing out my eyes when I got this guitar back, because I have I'll just show it to you right now. I have personally over 5,000 gigs on this guitar. And who knows how many more? I don't even know how many. This is what a real 1966 Stratocaster looks like.
Oh my gosh.
It is a player's guitar. And when I see all these custom shop jobs, you know, they try to imitate it. Matter of fact, John Cruz wanted to borrow this guitar when he was with Fender to replicate it and do some things, but I didn't want to do that. So this is what they really look like when they
Okay, so the front has way more, like, you don't see the 3-color. You don't see as much of the red on the front.
The red is gone. The 3-color, they're 3-tone. In 66 they were a 3-tone. Sunburst, the red, a brown, and this is actually Fuller Blast. This is the Fuller Blast color that's turned yellow. This is not a this is what they wouldn't have a yellow on it. It would be similar to this, where you have the black, the dark, and the brown like this. But this is the actual Fuller Blast. And what's really cool,
interesting, the color on the back is so different.
It's the same exact, but what's cool is this guitar, it's like, just like when you rub it, it's the smoothest thing you can imagine after all those years. And so I retired this guitar. It's the only guitar I've ever owned that I gave a name to. I call it Erlene, because I used to know this little old lady, and she was the sweetest, nicest person. And I said, this is an Erlene. It's so sweet. And just even acoustically, this guitar, it's the real thing. It's unbelievable. So anyway, the guy calls me, and he's got a bunch of these guitars that he took as collateral. When I opened this case, I just couldn't believe it, because this guitar has gone everywhere around the world with me. It's played every gig, and it's been everywhere. And when I got this, I came home, I said, man, because there's a handful of these guitars that just mean so much to me. There's a couple that I don't know how anybody could ever sell. They're master built by John Cruz for Fender for me. They say Robbie Z on the fretboard. They have on the back, it says custom made for Robbie Z, you know? So I don't know what anybody's going to do with it, but I got the case back on that one, on the main one, but there was no guitar inside. Anyway, so what happened is I was like everybody else. I play Strats, and I started collecting old Stratocasters back in the day. So I had 54, 55, 56, all the maple board ones, 57. And I was buying them so cheap back then. They were a lot to the average, but I would spend all my money I made on that, because what else am I spending on? Guitars, you know? When you're traveling and you're touring, all your money's paid for. Your hotel room, your food, you don't need a lot, you know? So I started selling those guitars to buy offsets, because I fell in love with them around 1998, 99.
Cool.
I asked my buddy at the time, my best friend, Brad Gillis, who guitar player with Night Ranger and was Ozzy Osbourne's guitar player. Hey, let's go in and let's start buying some offsets, because we both collect vintage, and we'll get this really cool. We'll just have a room full of really awesome custom colors. He's like, no, I really want to keep going with Strats. So we went different ways on that one, but I ended up with about 70 Jazz Masters and Jaguars. And I've gotten back about 5, 6, or 7 of the Jags and 5, 6, or 7 of the Jazz Masters. I actually sold them and put them back on the market so I could gain cash to pay rewards for more stuff that I really want. So I did sell a few to a couple different dealers. I actually have one right now. I've never been on Reverb or I'm not a seller. I'm a guitar player.
Yeah.
Actually, I got this guitar back. This is a 1965
Oh my gosh.
Dakota Red Jaguar that I just put on Reverb.
Cool.
I just put on Reverb for the first. I've never been on Reverb. I've only put 2 guitars on there. I sold them both the other day. It's got a little wear and stuff, but it's a 65, and Dakota Red's a really unusual color because you see a lot of candy apple and you see things like that, but it's got the green guard. It's a 65 with the green guard. It's got the, you know, everything that pre-CBS stuff, you know what I mean?
That is so cool.
Yeah, so I was happy. I got back some of these and I sold a couple. I put 2 on eBay and sold them both immediately. I sold a Sonic Blue and a what was the other one? Oh, and I'll think of it. But anyway, so now I still have this Dakota Red 65, and then I have a 65. I sold the Inca Silver. That was a pretty rare one.
Oh my gosh, that's a cool.
I had a lot of rare colors, but you know, those didn't have the meaning to me. Those were more collectible and beautiful and wonderful. But the ones that really have a meaning, I'm just never gonna. I want to keep those forever.
Yeah.
So, it's a huge thanks to you and one of the Casino Guitars did a video also, and both you guys have just been great and following up and staying. And what's been super helpful is the amount of people that text me or send messages and say, dude, I just saw one on Craigslist. Is this your guitar? I was getting 5 of those a day. I probably get 5 or 10 a week now. But you know what? 90% of the time they're not, or 95, but it's still wonderful that people are looking because I check every one. Anybody that sends me anything that says, could this be your guitar? Man, I'm right on it. I'm looking at the serial number. I'm checking my list. I'm doing my thing. And we did find one that way. A guy saw the video. I just saw this guitar. I went on. It was my guitar. I called my guy, my PI. He calls up the guy who's selling it, said, hey, you got a stolen guitar. And it turns out it worked out great because the guy he bought it from on eBay refunded his money. He gave me he mailed me the guitar. Everybody's worked out pretty good on this thing. But you don't want to have stolen guitars because if you have them legally, the detectives can just take them. They don't have
because and you mentioned this earlier, like part of it is just the complexity of like law enforcement's job is to stop burglary, and people that are also buying guitars or that are stealing guitars are probably also involved in other nefarious behaviors. And so they're probably, maybe it was last time we talked, maybe they'll like fold those things up into like, well, they also stole cars, and they'll place it to the higher charges or drug charges. And where we, guitar collectors like you and I want to just say, no, the police care about when things get stolen, and they'll help you find these things.
Well, one thing I'm happy about, the police put it on, it's on record. My list with serial numbers and guitars, it's on record at all police departments.
Yeah.
Some guy gets busted in Des Moines, Iowa, and they find 20 guitars. They go and check the computer. Might take them a while to get to it, but they will. Yeah. And they'll go, hey, wait, these are the Robbie Z collection. Okay. And that happened here in Santa Cruz, California. About 3 months ago, they found some guy's guitars from 2 years ago, a boatload of them, like 40 or 50. So there's always that hope. But what it took me a few months to realize is that once they exhausted their channels, they were kind of done. They're like, we're not going to track down your guitars. Yeah. We're trying to track down the guy that stole them or the guy that had them after that. But they're not really interested. And now I understand that. That's why I hired a private guy. He understands my mission, which is I want my guitars. And it sounds crazy, but I don't care if the guy that stole them, I don't care who it is. If somebody says, I got 10 of your guitars, I'm going to give them a big cash reward to return them to me. Yeah. I want my guitars, Yeah. So it's an interesting, I've learned so much in the last 8 months because this happened in December 2020. And I've learned so much. I had 1,500 comments sent to me, and 95% are just wonderful. And oh my God, my heart bleeds for you. And then there's always the 5% of you idiot. What the fuck were you doing? Oh, heck, were you putting them in the storage unit? And there's a lot behind it with me getting divorced. I had no option. I had to put my studio and everything into one big. And I thought it was the safest, best thing. I really thought it was great. But anyway, it's been a really learning experience. How many amazing people are out there, guys like you, all your viewers, that just the support they give, and
man,
they feel it in your heart. You know what I mean?
That's good. I'm very fortunate to have a large community of people that are just big hearts, that care about people, that understand, and everyone kind of feels that, like, oh no, I can't imagine. Like I told you before, like I've had one guitar stolen and it broke me. And
I remember you started the show last time with me. Your introduction was, I had one, I can't imagine 170. But the thing is, after it ripped my guts out and I basically just was you're out of sorts. Then I realized this could have been a phone call about one of my children. Probably could have been my girlfriend. Could have been something that was really a terrible thing. Speaking of girlfriends, she just walked by.
Yeah, it's a good reorientation. That's one thing that I've been so impressed by, is your resiliency and how it has aligned you to what you should value and what you should care about. And it's been awesome. I'm very glad that things are starting to come back now. You haven't talked much about the amps. What amps are out there? And
amps are a whole nother thing, because they're very these guys that are doing the guitar stuff, they're basically well, I don't even go into that. They're not, you're good kind of people, okay? And so, but moving an amp is a little different than handing somebody a guitar. And these are all black bass. I have them on the list, but because I used to play, my actual guitar was this 66 Strat through two different 66 amps. I would use a Vibrolux and I would use a Pro Reverb. Yeah. And that's the sound I wanted. I wanted that sound, which is a blues sound I got. I also had a lot of some tweeds. I had a really amazing Super 1959 Super. Right. And those, I'm just hoping they're sitting somewhere, and I'm going to find it to get all of them or a majority of them back in one swoop. We think we know people that have them, and we're trying to convince them to not worry. That I don't care. I'm not looking to put anybody in jail or hurt anybody or take vengeance. I just want the stuff. And if it means giving you some cash that'll help you out, then we're both going to benefit. Because right now I have nothing. So if I give you something and I get back, my amps are really important to me because they were all hand picked and hand.
Yeah,
I didn't.
That's just, interesting. I feel like I think your response is atypical. I feel like the typical response and what I've heard from other people is like, kick down the door, take back what's yours, let Johnny Law take them. But
if I wanted to do that, I've had some, there's a lot of, you're exactly right. Most responses that I get on these comments on these videos and things are like, I can't kill anybody that did that to me, or anybody took that, they're a slum, that is, I don't feel that way. I truly feel like I just want this, you know what I mean? Absolutely. Like, if somebody stole your child and it was like, I just want my child back. I don't care how you got him. I don't care what happened. Let's just get this over with and do it. And so I've had people reach out to me, militia groups, going, dude, I'll get your stuff back. They'll never steal another thing again. They'll never steal another thing again. I'm like, no, I'm not go there,
And I think there is I think you want restorative justice. Like, you just want to be restored to where you were. You don't want retributive justice of, take my stuff and beat them up and, it's a good and high road. And I think it's an amazing, and we talked about this last time, you've had a very public experience of suffering because lots of people talked about it and you've had lots of opinions. But you've done it really gracefully, which I don't think many people would do, especially how you just kind of laugh off, like the critique of you had too many guitars and they were in a storage unit. And how could you not know? And it's like, none of us are I've never played 200 shows a year. I've never owned that many guitars. I've never had that much responsibility. Yeah. You've handled it really gracefully.
The sad part is it's been my entire life. This has been my life. playing music. I mean, it's what I do.
Yeah.
And so this is, you can't cut any closer to the bone. There's no doubt about it. I mean, it isn't like I'm a stamp collector, like there's no connection. You're a guitar player and you collect guitars, which a lot of my guitar player buddies do.
Yeah.
But the thing about being gracious about is that I don't have that like vengeance thing or any of that. Like you said, it's just something you'd really would love to have back and like to recover, because I remember every guitar I bought. I remember where I was, how I got it, who I got it. And I want to comment about the people that say this stuff. I had this happened more than once, but I'm thinking of one in particular. The guy makes a comment on the YouTube and he says, "You're an idiot for putting your guitars in storage, first of all. Second of all, you dropped your insurance. What an idiot." And you know what I wrote? I go, "You're 100% right. I was an idiot." And you know what the guy wrote? "I am so sorry, dude. I am so, so sorry." He goes, "I feel for you from the bottom of my heart. I'm sorry I wrote that." And it's not that, and it wasn't, I didn't do it for that reason. I did it that you're right. I really, truly thought storage would be the safest. It's called Central Safe Storage.
Yeah.
In the nicest town you've ever been in. It's like, and now I will tell your viewers, do not put anything in storage. They're all in cahoots. They let people know who's got things. I'm not saying the unit, but I'm implying that. And what they do is then the bad guy rents a unit in there, cuts your lock off, starts moving the stuff into their unit. They put a fake lock, they put their lock on it so it doesn't go notice that there's no lock. Somebody report it and say, "Hey, there's no lock on that unit." No, they put their own lock. They move everything. We've been watching this now and how it works. And then they take all their stuff and move it out legally because that's their unit. And a month later, they're gone. We go to get the videos. Oh, our video cameras aren't working. Could we just see the thing from before? Oh, we only do 2 weeks of recording. We don't record. In other words, it's do not put your stuff in storage.
Yeesh.
Write down I don't care if you're a butterfly collector, write down everything that's in your collection.
Yep.
Put down the serial numbers, take photos of it. Don't put it in storage, because I put a lot of my stuff in my file box in the storage. Well, they took everything. So I didn't have all the serial number. I had to go back and try to look at photos and just people, if you learn anything, document everything you have right now.
Absolutely.
Even this attorney I talked to about suing the storage facility said, "Dude, I got a baseball card collection. I'm going to go home tonight. I'm photoing every card.
I know.
I'm on my computer, but
Yeah, I've started putting serial numbers down, taking pictures, and just making sure I've got everything locked in. Because like I have a studio, like a home studio, probably like a lot of people, but it still hits me. But cool. I think that's where we'll end it. So in the description down below, there's going to be the current what is still out there. If you find cool, funky offsets for sale on Craigslist in the US, there's a high likelihood that they're connected to this collection. And Robby's a really good guy, and I would love to see as many of those guitars get returned as possible, and amps. And so thanks everybody for your support and kindness.
I also had there's probably 15 or so Gibsons on there. There's 5 or 6 PRSs that are really nice. I had a lot of things other than offset, and a lot of Strats and tellies, and a couple of tellies I really love to see. But thank you so much, brother, and thank you to your people. You guys have all been great, and just any comment, I don't care what you have to say. It's all great. It's all appreciated. And I really appreciate everything you do, man. And I love your blog every day.
Thanks. That means a lot. All right. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you later.